G'day and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that can feel like a bit of a maze, right? Accessing government-subsidized aged care here in Australia. We're going to break down that very first absolutely crucial step, getting approved. So if you or maybe a loved one are just starting to suss out your options, well, you've definitely come to the right place. Let's jump straight in. And let's be honest, this whole process can seem pretty daunting. There's a lot of info, heaps of steps, and it is so easy to feel a bit overwhelmed. But the good news is, the system is actually designed to guide you through it. Our goal today is just to make that first part of the journey as clear as we possibly can. So here's our plan. We'll start with the absolute first step, then we'll cover that initial phone call, how to prep for the assessor's visit, what actually happens during that assessment, and finally, what you can expect once it's all said and done. Think of it as a clear step-by-step guide to get you on your way. All right, Section 1, the first step. Now, it's worth remembering you can always get aged care services privately if you want. But if you're looking for government-subsidized support, there's a formal process you have to follow, and it all kicks off with an official assessment. So the key takeaway here is pretty simple. To unlock any government funding for aged care, you have to be assessed. It's how they figure out your specific needs and whether you're eligible for support. And probably the most important thing to know right now is that this assessment, it's completely free. Okay, so for Section 2, let's look at how you actually get that assessment. It all starts with one phone call, a call to the government's central service, which is called My Aged Care. This is the number you're going to need. 1-800-200-422. Calling this number is basically your gateway to getting the ball rolling. It's how you officially kick off the process and register for that assessment we were just talking about. So, what actually happens on this call? Well, they'll set up a client record for you. And to do that, they're going to ask a few questions about how you're managing at home, any specific health worries you've got, and what sort of support you might already be getting from family or mates. Now, here's a really key piece of advice for this call. You've got to be as open and honest as you can. It's so easy to fall into the trap of downplaying things, Maybe it's a bit of pride or you're just used to battling on. But trust me, this is not the time for that. The more accurately you can describe your situation, the better they can understand your needs and line you up with the right kind of support. Okay, moving on to Section 3, preparing for the assessor. So after that first phone call, a local assessor will get in touch to set up a home visit. This next bit is all about getting ready for that visit to make sure it's as useful as possible. To get ready, it's a really good idea to have a few things handy. Your Medicare card for starters, grab any referrals you've got from your doctor, your GP's contact details, and just some notes on any help you're already getting. Oh, and it's the perfect chance to jot down any questions you have for the assessor. Being prepared really does make a massive difference. And please, remember this, you absolutely do not have to do this by yourself. It's super common and often really, really helpful to have a family member, a carer, or just a trusted friend there with you. They're not just there for moral support. They can help remember key details or even point out challenges that you might not notice yourself. Right then, Section 4, the in-home visit. So what can you actually expect when the assessor turns up? Let's break down what that conversation is likely to cover. The assessor is going to build on the info from your first phone call. So they'll have a chat about your general health and lifestyle, they'll ask about any issues with your memory, talk about how you're coping with daily tasks, and they'll have a look at any safety concerns around the home. It's all about getting a really complete picture of your situation. It's so important to see this not as some kind of test, but as a collaboration. You'll work with the assessor to develop a support plan, and this plan is all about you. It's based on your goals, what you can still do well, and your personal preferences for any care you might get. And now for our final section, after the assessment. The assessor has left, the chat's over, so what happens next? This is when you find out the outcome of it all. Basically, there are two main outcomes. If you're approved, you'll get a letter in the mail confirming it, along with that support plan you worked on. This plan will spell out the exact services you're now eligible for. If for some reason you're not approved, you'll still get a letter, but it'll explain why and give you contact details for other organizations that might be able to help you out. All right, before we wrap this up, just a quick but really important note. The information we've gone through here is general in nature, okay? It doesn't take your personal situation into account. So you should really consider if this information is appropriate for your own needs, and where it's appropriate, you should seek out professional advice from a financial advisor. For instance, someone like Sean Sullivan, who is an authorized representative of Vivid Financial Planning and holds an Australian financial services license. number 478937. And that brings us to the end of this first part. We've walked through the whole approval process, from that first phone call right through to the final letter. So this really just leaves one key question for you to think about. With this knowledge under your belt, what are the next practical steps for you and your unique situation?